Okay, now we're going to go through the fraction sheet, and it's split into adding, multiplying and dividing. The first one, half minus 6, we need to get a common denominator. That's the bottom number. We can get 2 to be 6 by multiplying by 3. But if we multiply the bottom by 3, we have to multiply the top by 3 to keep that fraction unchanged. So if we do that, that's equivalent to 3 on 6 minus 1 on 6. Because they're the same denominator, we just keep that the same, and we subtract the top. 3 take 1 is 2. So that's your answer, 2, 6. You could cancel that down by dividing the top and the bottom by the same number, by 2, and you'll get a third. The next one is adding. We have to get these to be the same number. Now in the top one, we could get them both to 6 just by multiplying one of them by 3. But here we can't get 3 to 2, we can't get 2 to 3, but we can get them both to be 6 by multiplying this one by 2, which means we times the top by 2, and we multiply this one by 3, which means we times the top by 3. Okay, so that means we'll have 4 on 6 plus 15 on 6, and that equals 19 on 6, and we can't cancel that down, so that's the answer. Next one, we can get them both to be 6 because 2 can easily multiply by 3 to get that number, so times 3, and the top is times 3. So that will give 3x on 6, take x on 6, which is 2x over 6. That could be cancelled down to be x over 3, because you could divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. Part D, we could get them both to be 8 because we could multiply the 2 by 4 and we times the top by 4. Okay, so that will give x on 8 plus, now to multiply this by 4 we need to multiply everything inside that bracket by 4, that's expanding. So that's going to be 4x plus 8 all over 8, and then we have a common denominator 8, and 4x and x is 5x, so 5x plus 8 over 8. On the right hand side we have 1. Now we're going to change 1 to 1 on 1 because we've had fractions on both sides up until now. That's the same thing, 1 on 1. Well, we want the denominator to be 3, so we can times by 3 times by 3. And so we have 2x takes 7, take 7 minus 3 over, actually I'll do that another way. So we'll have 2x take 7 over 3 minus 3 over 3, and so we have the common denominator is 3, and on the top we've got 2x minus 7 minus 3 is minus 10. This one down here we need a common denominator of 6, so we're going to times this by 2, times this by 2, times this by 3, times this by 3. So on the top, if you multiply the 2 inside that bracket, you'll get 4x take 2 over 6, and if we times the 3 into this bracket, you'll get 15x take 18. Now there's a minus out the front, so we put the minus there, and it's all over 6. But when we subtract these brackets, we have to be careful with that minus sign, because it's 4x minus 15x. 4 minus 15 is minus 11, so minus 11x. And we've got minus 2, now it's not minus 18 because it's minus, there's 2 minuses. So it's minus 2 plus 18, which is plus 16. You can consider this minus as a minus 1, which gets multiplied into the bracket. So it's minus 15x plus 18. This one here, to get it to be common, if you multiply these two together, they get 6x. I mean, all of these you could work out by multiplying together, like 3 times 2 we got to 6. This one here, 6 2s, we could have got to 12, but we could get a smaller number going to 6. This one went to 6. If you multiply these two, you'll get 6x. Now to get to 6x, we're going to times this by 2x, and we're going to times this by 2x, and we're going to times this by 3 and this by 3. That will get them both to 6x. Okay, so the first one, if we times 2x by this bracket, that's got to get multiplied into both of those terms. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x, and it's a minus. And then we've got the take. And the second term, we've got 6x again, and the 3 gets multiplied into these two terms. So we've got 15x and 18. And then we put that all over the same denominator and we subtract them. So 4x squared is 4x squared, and we've got minus 2x minus 15x, which is minus 17x. And then we've got minus minus 18, which is a plus 18. Okay, so that's adding and subtracting. Now we go multiplying, which is a lot easier. When you multiply, you just multiply the tops and you multiply the bottom. Multiply the top, multiply the bottom, multiply the top, multiply the bottom. This one here, multiply the top. That means the x has to go in both of those terms, so you end up with x squared plus 2x. And multiply the bottoms, you get 16. This one here, multiply the top. Now we've got to FOIL this, first outers in as last. So doing the firsts, that will give 10x squared. Doing the outers, which is these, the outers, you get minus 12x. And doing the inners, you get minus 5x. And then doing the last, you get plus 6. That's all divided by 6, 3 2s. Now collect your like terms, so that's 10x squared. Minus 12x minus 5x is minus 17x, and you've got your plus 6, and that's all over 6. Okay, now we look at dividing. Now dividing, you just change to a times, but you swap the second number upside down, so that becomes 6 on 1. And then do the same as on the left. So times the tops, times the bottom. This one here, you swap it to a times, but you flip the second one, so it's now 6 on x. Multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms. You could cancel that down because x divided by x is 1, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And this one here, we're going to multiply by 3. Now that's really 3 on 1, so when you flip it, it'll be 1 on 3. Times the tops, times the bottom. This one here, we're going to times it and flip it at 3 on 1, so that's 3x on 2. This one here, 2x plus 3, we make the divider times and we flip it, 6 on x. Now if you times 6 by this whole thing, you'll get 12x plus 18 all over x. Now that really is, that could be considered over 1, which means that's over 1, and 1 times x is x. This one here, x on 2 times, flipping this one, 3x squared on 1. 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. And 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, that finishes the fractions worksheet. And we've got two other things to do. We've got indices and factorisation.